Was there a scene you could not complete due to a severe case of the giggles? If so, which scene?
Yes, the scene where Brianna gets a certain letter and there's someone at the head of the table, a certain character that I don't know if I'm allowed to say that they're in it. But Brianna's next to you and you're on the other side of the table and you two just giggled the whole time. And then there was one take. We did about 20 takes of these guys giggling, right? You did. And then there was one tiny take where I giggled.
Now.
We would never do a thing like that.
Sack her.
There was one take. Then there was one tiny take where I giggled on my own coverage. It was fine. And Sam turned to me and went, "Stop laughing." I was like, dude, we've been here for 20 minutes.
I have to say, Sam has the best ability
Contagious.
to set somebody else off.
Oh, that's not true.
But then keep himself controlled.
Yeah. And then blame Katrina for the
And then
whole
blame me.
thing.
Because he'll do something that'll set me right off, and then he'll go, and then just give a perfect take.
And then he'll be like, Katrina, stop it.
And then you turn around and like back to the camera.
I'm terrible.
Dirty tricks.
I corpse all the time.
Actually, do you know what the one on, oh, I can't say that.
There's a
On a
beach.
beach, and do you remember when you had to, and you just got the giggles every take, and we were meant to be hugging, and you were just like, you wouldn't let go.
I was just really cold.
This is for Diana from an ER nurse in Philly. It's so awesome to see intelligent women in the show. What made you want to make Claire a doctor?
Basically, she was a doctor. To start with, I had this English woman. First, I had the man in the kilt, and then on the third day, I said, well, I must have a lot of men because of the kilt factor, but it would be nice if I had a woman to play off these guys, and we'd have sexual tension. That's good. And so having done 3 days of research so far on the Jacobites, I said, well, Scots versus English. If I make her an English woman, we will have lots of tension. So third day of writing, I introduced this woman, no idea who she was, except she was an English woman. And I loosed her into a cottage full of Scotsmen wearing kilts to see what she would do. And that was Claire. Anyway, she lasted 1 page before she started talking like a modern woman. And I said, you don't sound at all like an 18th century person. You know, obviously you came from somewhere else. And, you know, mind you, this was the third day of writing on my very first book, which I was writing for practice and never going to show to anyone. So I said, well, you know, it doesn't really matter what bizarre thing I do. No one's ever going to see this. So go ahead and be modern. I'll figure out how you got there later. So that's why she's a time traveler, and that's why there's time travel in the books. But having decided that, I had to... So, you know, it's all her fault. But having decided that, I had to decide where did she come from, who is she, and so forth. And it was a long process of thinking, but, you know, I started with, if I were a time traveler and was decanted suddenly into this place, what kind of skills would I want to have? And I said, well, I think I'd like something in the medical line so I'd have a better chance of staying alive. And so I was thinking, well, maybe she's a doctor. And then I thought, no, she doesn't sound modern enough for modern medicine. And eventually I came to the conclusion that she had come out of World War II, and therefore she was a combat nurse. And so that's where we began. But of course, when she went back, you know, then it was reasonable for her to resume her medical career and study more and become a doctor. So, you know, it was all just, well, it's all her fault. You know?
Sam, Katrina, Sophie, and Richard.
What?
Are there any lessons you learned from your characters that you applied to your own life?
Ooh.
Infinite patience. Charisma. Intelligence. Determination. Passion. Good looks.
Sophie, don't you just wear your character's costume?
All right. All right. Can we all please just note he's waiting an hour to tell that joke?
And he practiced
Waiting all
5
night.
times.
I
last
would
day.
stand up, but there's a mic here. But Sam has decided that I'm wearing part
Part
of
of
is it
her
mine
costume.
or Jamie's? Because I can't decide.
Well, never mind. I thought it was funny.
He's just jealous.
So mean.
You know what? Maybe you could have learned fashion from Jamie, all right?
No. No.
Last question is for Richard. Can you give us an encore of LOVE?
Fuck off. Oh, no.
Come on.
I don't have a guitar.
Got it in there.
Wait, well, we.
I don't know the words. I actually don't know the words.
L-O-V-E. She
Spells
just
it
told you
for
them.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anything that you can something love. Thanks for that.